All right, NASCAR fans, I need you to pay close attention to this one, because what I am about to tell you could completely change the Darlington race this weekend. And I'm not talking about a penalty, I'm not talking about a crash, I'm not talking about any kind of on-track drama. I'm talking about something way bigger than racing. Something that could pull one of the top3 drivers in the entire NASCAR Cup Series standings out of his car at any moment. And when I say any moment, I mean literally any moment. Because right now, as you're watching this video, Bubba Wallace and his wife Amanda are waiting for their second child to arrive. And that baby could come today, it could come tomorrow. It could come right in the middle of the Darlington race weekend. And if that happens, everything changes. Now here's what makes this situation absolutely wild. Bubba Wallace isn't he just any driver right now? He's not sitting 25th in the standings hoping to squeak into the playoffs. This man is currently third in the NASCAR Cup Series points standings. Third, let that sink in. He's having the best season of his entire career. The 23XI Racing number 23 Toyota has been flying this year. And now, at the worst possible time from a racing standpoint, but the best possible time from a life standpoint, his second child is about to arrive. And Bubba has already made one thing crystal clear. He is not missing this birth. He said it himself. When their first son Brexton was born, Bubba wasn't there. He was at the racetrack. He had racing commitments and he missed it, and that clearly stuck with him. Because this time around he made a promise, no matter what, no matter when, no matter what race it is. He's going to be there when this baby arrives. And honestly, every single fan watching this can understand that. Every parent watching this knows exactly why that matters. But here's where this whole thing turns into one of the most complicated situations in NASCAR right now. Because pregnancies don't follow the NASCAR schedule. Babies don't care about green flags and checkered flags. They come when they are ready. And Amanda's due date falls right around the Darlington race weekend. The Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway is this Sunday, March 22nd. And that timing could not be more intense. So before we break down exactly what the team is planning, and trust me, they've got some seriously detailed backup plans, if you're a real NASCAR fan and you love these kinds of stories that go beyond just racing, smash that like button and subscribe to Daily NASCAR. This channel is brand new and we're pushing toward our first 1,000 subscribers. If you want real, honest, passionate NASCAR talk every single week, you found your spot. All right, so let's get into the backup plans because this is where it gets really fascinating. Bubba Wallace's spotter Freddie Kraft went on the Door Bumper Clear podcast this week and broke down exactly how the team is preparing for this situation. And honestly, the level of detail in their planning is impressive. They are not just hoping for the best. They've got 3 completely different scenarios mapped out. Plan A is Corey Heim. Now, if you follow NASCAR closely, you know Corey Heim is a talented young driver who has been making waves. He's the guy the team wants in the car if they know in advance that Bubba is going to miss the race. But here's the catch, and this is a really important detail. Corey Heim and Bubba Wallace do not fit the cockpit the same way. They are built differently. Their driving positions are different. The seat, the pedals, the steering wheel position, everything needs to be adjusted. And according to Kraft, the team would need at least a full day of preparation to properly adjust the car so Heim could drive the number 23 Toyota safely and competitively. So what does that mean? It means if the team gets a heads up early enough, say Amanda goes into labor on Thursday or Friday before the race weekend really kicks into high gear, then they have time. They can make the switch. They can adjust everything. And Corey Heim can step in with proper preparation. That's the ideal scenario from a competition standpoint. But here's where it gets tricky. What if it doesn't happen that way? What if Amanda goes into labor on Saturday night or Sunday morning? Or even worse, what if she goes into labor during the race? That's plan B. And plan B is completely different from plan A. In the Plan B scenario, where things happen suddenly and there's no time for major car adjustments, the team would go with a different driver entirely. Someone who could jump into the car without needing significant modifications. Someone who is close enough in size and build to Bubba that the cockpit doesn't need a complete overhaul. Kraft didn't reveal exactly who that driver would be, but he made it clear that the team has someone identified and ready to go at a moment's notice. And think about how crazy that scenario would be. Imagine you're watching the Darlington race. Bubba Wallace is out there running in the top 10. And then suddenly his team gets the call. Amanda is in labor. Bubba has to come in. He climbs out of the car. And another driver straps in and takes over mid-race. That would be one of the most dramatic moments of the entire season. Not because of anything that happened on the track, but because of real life crashing into racing in the most intense way possible. Then, there's Plan C. Kraft mentioned there's even a third backup plan, though he didn't go into full detail about it. But the fact that they have 3 separate plans tells you how seriously the team is taking this. They are not leaving anything to chance. They know this baby could arrive at literally any moment, and they need to be ready for every single possibility. Now, let's talk about what this means for the championship, because that's the part that's making a lot of fans nervous. Bubba Wallace is currently sitting in 3rd place in the NASCAR Cup Series standings, 3rd behind Tyler Reddick, who is leading, and Ryan Blaney, who is 2nd. Wallace has been having an absolutely incredible start to the 2026 season, the kind of start that proves all his critics wrong. The kind of start that shows this man belongs at the very front of the Cup Series field. So what happens if he misses a race? Under normal NASCAR Cup Series rules, drivers are required to compete in every race in order to remain eligible for the championship and the playoffs. If you miss a race without an approved waiver, you're basically out of playoff contention. And for a driver sitting 3rd in points, that would be devastating. But here's the good news. NASCAR does allow waivers under certain circumstances, and the birth of a child is absolutely one of those circumstances. We actually have a very recent precedent for this. Back in 2025, Denny Hamlin missed the Cup Series race in Mexico City, and NASCAR granted him a waiver so he remained eligible for the championship. So, based on that precedent, it is extremely likely that if Bubba Wallace misses a race because of the birth of his child, NASCAR would grant him the same waiver. And honestly, that's the right decision. No driver should have to choose between being there for the birth of their child and protecting their championship eligibility. NASCAR understands that, the teams understand that, and the fans understand that. Some things are simply bigger than racing. But even with the waiver, missing a race still hurts from a points perspective. Even if Wallace gets the waiver and stays playoff eligible, he would still miss out on all the points from that race. Stage points, finishing position points, everything. And in a season where every single point matters, especially with the chase format where consistency is king, that could be a significant hit. If Reddick and Blaney are out there collecting points while Wallace is in the hospital with his wife, that gap in the standings could grow. Now, the interesting thing is what Freddie Kraft said about how Bubba is handling this emotionally, because you have to understand the mental side of this too. On one hand, Bubba is a competitor. He wants to be in that car every single weekend. He wants to fight for wins. He wants to compete for the championship, especially this year when things are going so well. The timing couldn't be worse from a racing perspective. But on the other hand, he's a father, and he already missed the birth of his first child because of racing. He knows what that regret feels like. He knows what it means to not be there for one of the most important moments in your family's life. And he's made it very clear that he's not making that mistake again. No race, no championship, no trophy is worth missing the birth of your child. And that's a message that resonates with every single fan watching, whether you're a die-hard NASCAR fan or not. And here's something else to think about. The 23XI racing team is already dealing with a lot right now. Tyler Reddick is leading the standings and needs to maintain that momentum. Denny Hamlin just won at Las Vegas and is trying to build on that. And now, the third car, Bubba Wallace's number 23, might have a different driver in it this weekend. That's a lot for any organization to manage, even one as strong as 23XI Racing. But if there's any team that's prepared for this kind of situation, it's this one. 23XI Racing has the resources, the personnel, and the depth to handle an unexpected driver change. And with Corey Heim as the primary backup option, they are not exactly putting an amateur in the car. Heim has talent. He's shown that in his racing career. And if he gets the call, he'll be ready to do his best. Now let's talk about Darlington specifically, because the timing of this makes everything even more intense. Darlington Raceway is one of the most demanding tracks on the entire NASCAR schedule. They call it the track too tough to tame for a reason. It's a 366-mile egg-shaped oval. The walls are close. The racing surface is narrow. Tire wear is brutal. And the margin for error is basically zero. This is not an easy track for a substitute driver to jump into. Even for someone as talented as Corey Heim, driving a cup car at Darlington with limited or no practice time would be an enormous challenge. Every lap at Darlington demands respect. The track will bite you if you push too hard. And if a substitute driver is trying to manage all of that while also dealing with the pressure of replacing one of the top drivers in the series, that's a lot to handle. So that's why this whole situation is so fascinating. It's not just about whether Bubba Wallace races or not. It's about the ripple effect. It's about how the team adapts. It's about how the championship standings might shift. It's about how a backup driver handles one of the toughest tracks in NASCAR. And it's about a man making a choice that puts his family first, even when the racing world is telling him the timing couldn't be worse. And you know what? That's what makes NASCAR so special sometimes. It's not always about the fastest car or the best pit stop. Sometimes it's about real life, real moments, real decisions that remind us these drivers are human beings with families and priorities that extend way beyond the racetrack. So right now, every NASCAR fan is basically on baby watch. We're all checking our phones. We're all waiting for that announcement. Will Bubba Wallace race at Darlington? Will the baby arrive before the green flag? Will Corey Heim get the call? Will there be a mid-race driver swap? Nobody knows. And that uncertainty is what makes this one of the most compelling stories heading into the weekend. And personally, I just want to say this. Whatever happens, whether Bubba races on Sunday or whether he's holding his newborn baby in a hospital room, he's making the right call. Championships come and go. Trophies collect dust. But being there when your child enters the world, that's a moment you never get back. And the fact that Bubba Wallace learned that lesson and is making sure he doesn't miss it again, that tells you everything you need to know about who he is as a person, not just as a driver, as a man, as a father. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Bubba Wallace should race at Darlington, even if it means potentially missing the berth? Or do you agree that family comes first no matter what? And if he does miss the race, who do you think should replace him in the number 23 car? Corey Heim or someone else? Drop your opinion in the comments, because I know NASCAR fans have passionate thoughts about situations like this. And if you enjoyed this kind of real, honest, emotional NASCAR storytelling, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to Daily NASCAR. This channel is brand new and we're pushing toward our first 1,000 subscribers. If you're a genuine NASCAR fan who loves the sport for the stories, the people, and the moments that make it unforgettable, you're exactly where you belong. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. And hey Bubba, if you're watching this, congratulations in advance, brother. Some victories happen off the track,